Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Video Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are conquesting yourselves. And hope you guys are conquesting things around you as you follow God's purposes. So it's great to be with you guys again. Try to do one at least once a week. This is, I think it's been a week since I did the last one. Let's go ahead and do one. We'll do some, I did do some shout outs. I caught up a little bit. Not perfect yet, but we're getting there. And we'll do an interesting topic, dealing with kind of distractions and things that you may see out there. So let's talk about quickly. Let's go with Gem88. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. User, thank you. Oleg. He's reminding us that November is not nut November. So it's hard to say that thing, but thank you, Oleg. I appreciate that. Benspecial, looking younger. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Hopefully the Fountain of Youth stuff with Kendler is working. And I do feel, I'm 64, but I do feel a lot younger than that. So thank you so much. I appreciate that as always. Gio the Genius, thank you, my friend. Pastoral, thank you. The real Spencer Roberts, thank you. Art 1 Foot, thank you. Day 97, congratulations. Keep it up. BadBwoymusic, thank you. John Jennings, as always, thank you, my friend. Osho tenrique, day 3, keep it up. It's a good start, my friend. Every day is a new day to a warrior, so keep it up. Just Poker B, I have a glow. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. Once again, I attribute that to the blessings of the Lord, teaching me some of the ideas of retention. Hopefully some of those benefits are working, and I'm getting some of those with that and being closer to God, which is the main thing, really. Slashingbison, thank you. You can tell the retainment in the force of your eyes, facing the eyes. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And I think we're going to do a topic on that. I think one of the topics we had here did that. I like that topic a lot. And it's the one, Slashing Bison. So we'll do that probably maybe the next one even. We'll see what we get to. But thank you, Slashing Bison. I appreciate that. Micosmellgood. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that as well. And Mongeyjames, thank you as well. So thank you guys for the shout-outs. And at 2:30 of the broadcast here, let's go ahead and talk about the topic. Let's go back to Video Systems. Mae Wendy had a great topic, and this kind of goes into a little bit. I think Nate, one of our viewers, asked this question. I've had this question asked a few times about getting sponsorships and monetizing the channel and all that. And this kind of goes a little bit with this topic. His question, Video System Mae Wendy, his question is how to deal with the FOMO of staying out of the pool. Now, I think what we're talking about here is obviously the temptation of, trying to be around a lot of temptation and being someone who can actually hold on to it. So I'm going to talk about temptation a little bit here, and I think that's what Video System meant. If not, then I apologize. But I think that's kind of what he was talking about here a little bit. How do you deal with it? Of the sensation, all the things around us, people telling us we need to do this and do that, and to conform to the society norms. And that's kind of what we're really talking about. I mean, how do you deal with this and not get involved with this? And so let me bring in Nate's comment, which I just saw a couple days ago, and it reminds me of many that people have asked me about why I don't get monetized on the channel and those things. And I may change my mind at some point, but this is kind of my thought, and this is one of my weaknesses. You guys probably hear about this, with this today, but I want to make sure that this channel stays like it is. I want to make sure that we're doing this because people get something out of it. I'm a teacher by heart. I've taught for over 40 years. I love teaching. I love helping people. I love trying to provide and give information to other people. And, of course, money is not in the teaching field, especially in the United States. And so, you're not going to get that kind of money doing it. But the thing is that I think the idea is that I really feel like that it's important, as far as my own satisfaction goes, is to help people who need help in certain areas. And so I teach communications. I've taught math, science, all kinds of different things over the years, the high school, grammar school level, and college level. So I've been tutoring, a lot of different things over the years, business consulting, working with businesses, things like that, working at educational organizations, all kinds of stuff like that. And so as I look at this, one of the things is that that's what God's purpose has been to me, to be a teacher. So when I do something like this, I see a big issue, and I've seen the big issue because I went through the issue, 47 years of, losing my energy back and forth and not feeling like a man, and I just lost that. And I got that back, especially during the COVID period, because I decided I was going to just go for it and basically say, okay, I'm going to go into monk mode, and I'm going to try as hard as I can not to fall in temptation. So that's still about a 5-year process we're talking about here. And so you realize that all those years I went back and forth. And so there's some hesitancy for me to do something that I could get tempted by. So, and we're not talking about women in this sense. We're talking about, this channel, maybe getting to the point where it's focusing on the need for money or making money. And one of the issues that I run into, and I see this a lot with people who I've known who've, had money and those things, it's a great thing in one sense, obviously, but it's also a potential trap in another way, where people get used to making money of it and they lose the idea of what the purpose of whatever they're doing was for. And so they go into fields like teaching and other things more for the money, or they go into a field for the money, and they lose sight of the fact of what God is trying to get them to do. And so in my case, in talking about this, I'm trying to make sure before I start monetizing something that I'm strong enough as an individual not to be tempted down the line of trying to build this up to anything but just trying to help people. And when I lose that, then I don't really want to do that anymore, because my whole purpose was do it. Now, of course, we're not naive. It's nice to bring in some money any way you can do it. I always believe in mobile sources of income and things like that. But in this particular situation with this channel, I'm just trying to make people aware of what an issue is that I feel has been an issue for a long time for young men. And I think certainly the society is not helping it. It's kind of that matrix we're talking about. We're living in a false world that people are teaching us one thing, but really it's destroying us more than helping us. And the part of it that we're talking about really is the semen retention, the pornography, all those things of making people weaker, especially men weaker, than they should be. They're not masculine, strong men like we had before. And that's changing, of course. You got at least 1% of us, I believe, are thinking this way. And I see lots of things on television, and some are good, some are bad. But the thing is that at least people have become aware of it. So that's kind of the reason I'm doing this. So that's one of those temptations that I think that Video System's talking about a little bit here, where he's talking about that how to deal with that whole excitement of staying out of the pool, or that temptation of staying out of the sin, the temptations you have of doing something. And we have it across the board, warriors. We have it across the board. When you look at things, and mine may just be this issue about, I don't want the channel to become only something I do for money, and I'm losing sight of the real purpose of what we're doing. And I don't, I probably will not get to that point, but I want to make sure, so I'm not really at the point yet where I feel comfortable in just going ahead and monetizing the channel. But this also applies to a lot of things that we talk about. We obviously know the situation we're talking about with women, and we know that, you can't be tempted because you see a woman who's beautiful and lose sight of what you're doing, your purpose and what you need to do. And so you're basically trying to get excited about life and do all the things you're doing, but you're not falling into the trap of saying, okay, I'm going to go too far. And this is what happens to people. They get addicted. And this is where the addiction problem comes into anything you're doing. And so, as I said with the channel, I'm concerned that I would basically go ahead and, start making money, and all of a sudden start feeling, okay, I'm moving away from the purpose of the channel itself. And that's to basically just help young people, older people, men in general, and women too. There's some viewers that we have of women, and God bless you guys, but it really is more of a case of looking at men and how they can control their behavior. But the same thing applies to any sort of temptation you have. Why do you think we are a world that is tempted? We have a society that's pushing all these temptations. Let's take a few of them. I'm not even talking about the pornography type of thing or the sexual type of thing. Let's just talk about the overeating. We have our things in our food, things, that attract us more to eat more. And so, because we're on the go, we're not exercising, we do a lot of fast food types of things. We're not really staying in shape when it comes to eating, right? So a lot of people are in this kind of situation as well. And so they get stressed out and they eat. This happens a lot when it comes to stress. Stress, people put things in the mouth. This is why when babies, and I had a couple of babies a long time ago, we put pacifiers, that they had pacifiers. Well, it's to pacify. So people eat sometimes to pacify, to calm themselves down, because they're in a world of a lot of stress and anxiety. And so, in many cases, they're now getting addicted. So, I saw things on people who, back in the old days were on narcotics to help them with certain medications and pains, and they eventually became addicted to those type of things. And so you see that with drugs. And so you see that with gambling. Now we've seen something out coming into the sports world and the political world, and we thought the old, mob types of things are done, but they're not done when it comes to gambling, right? And so the thing is that that's another one of those things that you talk about, that you look at and say, okay, this is another one thing that's happening that is out of control. And so when you look at our society, it's really out of control. A lot of people are doing a lot of things, but have no self-control with themselves. And so this is really a good topic to kind of deal with. And I like the way the video systems put this thing. So, you could jump in the pool with everybody else. And like I said, maybe you didn't mean it this way, but I thought it was a really good analogy he's talking about here, is that you're getting all excited, that you wanna be part of something, but then how much is it going to take away from you? And that's why I think that I always like the lone wolf type of thing that I think about all the time, and the lion of saying, okay, you can have fun with other people, you can have fun doing things, but remember, you're your own person, and that you have to kind of be closer to God first, and God will tell you what are the right and wrong things to do. So we talk about all these addictions that are out there. You could be addicted to anything. It could be video games. It could be, as I said, overeating. It could be alcohol. It could be drugs. You could be addicted to TV. All these things. But the addiction behavior itself is something that each one of us has to overcome individually. And obviously, the big part of that is having God on your side, working with God to try to overcome this, but also then, as you're learning more self-control and you're controlling things you do, whether it's controlling things you eat, whether it's what you consume visually, as far as pictures and images go, when you consume things in your mouth, all those things tend to be things that you can control. Now, again, the biggest thing we have and the biggest concern we have is that we're in a society of short-term satisfaction. People want to get that short-term satisfaction right away. And so what do? They end up doing something that, maybe it's not good for them in the long run, but they do it now. This is why the gambling world and all these things are so attractive to people, because they're basically at a point where they can, risk it all. And now they end up, losing it all, because it's very rare that people end up winning for any long period of time unless they get away from the table, right? And a lot of those things are racked against us in the first place. Plus, then you see all the types of corruption that goes on when it comes to gambling and things like that. So it's a situation where people continue doing it because they get the thrill out of the risk. Now, why are the people getting thrill out of the risk? Well, that's a good question, right? Why couldn't you be happy with the way things are? A lot of people are bored, which is my opinion. And so a lot of people get bored. And so because of that, they need to get some stimulation. They need to get something that makes them excited. The peace and quiet of being in paradise was not good enough for Adam and Eve, right? So you look back at that whole thing, and one of those stories is really so many different analogies and things you can bring out of a story like Adam and Eve. But certainly one of the big ones is the fact that peace and tranquility and paradise was not good enough, okay? And when it's not good enough, now you're looking for things to augment, to help you get more excited. And this is where you see people then saying, okay, I'm either stressed out or I'm basically at the point where I'm just bored. And so now I'm doing things to put myself in a position where I have to get excited about something. This is no wonder why people in relationships have fights and things happen when people get bored, because now they're looking to do something, whether it's create drama, whether it's basically to go ahead and just create situations. They will do that. But the bottom line is that that person's bored. Now, in my mind, as Dr. Norman Vincent Peale said to me a long time ago, no one in this world should be bored. There are so many things to do. There's so many things that can preoccupy your time and growth-wise. You should be able to fill up your day with activities. I don't care if it's working out. I don't care if it's putting your mind to reading, to accomplishing goals, to doing things. And of course, you're going to take break time for things like entertainment and things like that. But the idea is that basically you should not be bored enough to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and create this situation where I'm almost being self-destructive, right? And trying to get a high on something. And I remember this as a kid watching people back in the late 60s and early 70s, and I just saw lots of people who they were bored with the lifestyle that they had, or the way life was, whatever you want to call it, and they had to get that extra high to be able to feel different, which is why you had a lot of people back in the late 60s especially. I remember Timothy Leary, and you even got people like Bob Dylan and things like that, who, most of the songs, you looking back in those days, were related to drugs in one way or the other. And there's a lot of studies that they used to do with LSD and things like that when you're focusing on trying to get that extra high. And we've seen that over the history of people who were artists, musicians, taking a lot of drugs to kind of get themselves in a different state. So they weren't happy with the state they were here. They wanted to get another state. So in a sense, that was bored with the state they're in. And so this is what happens to people who are not happy with themselves. They need to create a different situation where they become happier because it's new, a new horizon, something like that. So, instead of trying to be better and focus on getting better, what they're doing basically is creating situations where they're hurting themselves, not realizing it, to create a situation where now something's happened and now life becomes interesting again. And that's what you want to avoid. So this is why we talk about the idea of saying, okay, how to deal with the FOMO of staying out of the pool, right? The idea is that the way to do this, the best way to do this, is to go ahead and have a purpose and goals, the things you're doing. And then one of the ways that happened to me was trying to get God to, trying to have God and understand what my purpose was and where I was going. And I'll tell you, retention helped me a great deal, especially over the last 5.5 years of doing it. I mean, I think it'd be almost 5 years now, something like that. I think August, something like that. I can't remember the dates. I have to go back to it and say. I know it's like over 1,900 days, maybe something like that. But the thing is that when you look at what's happening, it gave me some clarity on what's really important. I mean, women were not that important, even though I love women and love my wife and love, daughters and things like that. That is not what's defining you as a male, right? Your job is not defining you as a male. It's your character, your attitude, your belief system. All those things are things that define you as a male. You are a masculine male because you're providing, you're protecting, you're dealing with things in the society, problem solver, things like that. Those are things that are making you stronger. And because you're getting away from all those material needs you used to have, which is I used to have, I should say, now you're focusing on the spiritual world instead of focusing on the material world. And that's the big difference when we talk about this whole thing. And so as you get more away from the physical world, you're not excited enough to go back into the pool, go back into the situations where you're now, dealing with all kinds of money or women, things like that. Those things are not that important. And some of you guys who've been in the 20s, and maybe you guys have made your money, and that's wonderful. Hopefully it helps you be more happier. But we know money doesn't attract happiness. It may cause more problems than it's worth sometimes, but it doesn't create happiness. Only the smart people are the ones that can stay happy even though they've made money. And this is the key to it, because really the happiness is not in the money. Now, part of it could have been what you're doing, and you're happy working at the job you're working, and that's great. But it's not the money that's making you happy. And as they talk about in the Bible, money is the root of all evil, the love of money. Loving money is where the problem is. And some people do love money. But the thing is as you look at the way your life is and why my life was, I recognize that my life wasn't dealing with the material things. It doesn't really matter. And that's, I think, one of the things that retention helps you with is realizing that you don't necessarily need all these material things. And because of that, now you're focusing on things that are not material. And that's kind of where the difference is. So I think as you guys, some of you guys have longer streaks and a lot longer than my streak is, you'll probably hopefully testify that's the same type of thing. You're not really focusing on the material things, and they're around and you have to deal with them and you work with them best you can, but your whole attitude about those things are different. Your whole attitude is that I want to achieve goals, I want to get something accomplished here. I don't want necessarily to focus on these short-term satisfaction types of things. Sleeping with another woman, even if I was single, that would make no sense, in this type of situation. And obviously I'm not, because I've been married for many, many years. But even if I was single and did that, that would make no sense. Unless you're doing it for a long-term type of reason. And again, the same thing deals with releasing. Unless you're going to procreate, what are you doing it for? Again, we get caught up in this whole thing about pleasure and the fact that you can release and it's healthy and it's pleasurable, all that kind of stuff. But again, is that a mirage? And I think it is a mirage in many ways. But the same thing with drugs. They could be tantalizing, you can make them legal, you can do all that kind of stuff. But is it really making the person feel fulfilled? I think the only way you get fulfilled is having God in your life, and the Lord, Jesus Christ, in my case, having him in life, and basically saying, okay, you don't need anything else. You have that relationship, all these other things don't matter as much. So, and that's kind of where I'm at now at 64, where over the last 5 years of doing this, I realized I don't need a lot of the things that I thought I need. There's hobbies that I have. I still like watching pro football games and different things like that. But it's not like I need to do that anymore. There was a time where I felt like that was the only thing I had. And it was only because I was caught up with the matrix and lost my perspective for a long time. So hopefully, again, I kind of answered this one. But thank you for Video Systems, Mae Wendy, and also to Nate asking a question about this channel. My role is, and I hope you guys will tell me this, at some point, if we get off track and I get away from the purpose of what we're trying to do to help people, then you would certainly tell me in the comments and things like that. And as I said, I'm going to try to continue building this. I'm not going to stop this. There's times that you guys have seen I've done it for a couple of weeks. I get caught up doing all kinds of things. But one of the things I always want to do is keep doing this in different ways. Obviously, I'm still doing it by phone. But when I look at a computer and kind of work in a different way and try to do more things that are more tech advanced. But my main thing is just to get the message out. I don't do it in lots and lots of ways. Other people do it. They make a big image, a big display on it, and maybe I should be doing that. But I don't really want to do that right now. I just want to get the message out, and hopefully that helps one person. If I can help one person in the audience, and hopefully I've done that, then that's the main thing to me. So, all right, my friends. Well, anyway, I wanted to kind of talk about this great topic from Video Systems, Mae Wendy, how to deal with the FOMO, staying out of the pool, and I like that a lot. I think there's a lot to it. And as I said, hopefully it helped you a little bit too. So we have a lot of great topics that you guys were talking about: alcohol, and what it does to your retention, attract money, weight loss, and SR. I got other ones like the cynical. I think it's cynical. No. Cycle retention. So we'll talk about that one a little bit, and then. The matrix, there's another topic on that. What to do with the energy, retainers, look by the face and eyes. There's a lot of good topics we have coming up with, and withdrawal problems. So we'll talk about a lot of those as we go along. I'll try to do one if I can in the weekend. Weekend's going to be kind of busy, but we'll try to get one done on the weekend or maybe early next week and do one as fast as we can. So, all right, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Hope you guys continue to conquest yourselves, continue to battle. So 2 things I always leave you in. 1, every day is a new day to a great warrior, and you guys are great warriors. And number 2, guys, always remember to battle on! God bless you guys. Have a great day.